WDAY News reporter Mike McGurran has the story on a Moorhead man who turned his lifelong love of Legos into a feature film, airing right here in Fargo.
The year was 2019. Stories about some kind of virus from China were spreading on social media, but my mind was singularly focused. I felt like I was at a crossroads in my life. I could either drop my filmmaking hobby and pursue my career as a high school science teacher, or I could double down on my creative passions and continue working my day job as a substitute teacher. I had recently experienced the taste of viral success with my first season of the Lego Zombie Apocalypse, but my channel was no longer getting the attention it once did. Was it even worth seeing the second season through to the end? I'm Christian Stensley, the creator of Twisted Bricks and the Void War universe, which is a stop-motion cinematic universe that has been expanding since 2016. In 2020, I decided to embark on my biggest project ever, a feature-length film. I wanted the film to take place in the universe I had created, but I also wanted it to stand on its own 2 feet as something anyone could jump into. As my dear plastic friends fought their way through a desperate attempt to destroy the hive mind known as slag, a question began to persist in my mind. What if they failed? This question led to the formulation of a story that took place 2,000 years after the events of the second season. Mankind survived the apocalypse, but the war never ended. The slagic horrors persisted, but so did humanity, which included a wonderful assortment of colorful characters, such as the wounded Private Huxley, the idealistic psychic Iris, and the ancient infected Slade. I want to take you on the journey of making this film, and my hope is that it will inspire you to pursue your own creative aspirations, your own creative dreams. You know, my story, it's full of ups and downs, and a lot of uncertainty, to be honest, but in the end, it really did come true in the most spectacular way. Here it is. For the first half of 2020, I focused on wrapping up the second season of the Lego Zombie Apocalypse, as well as learning everything I could about what makes a good story and what makes a good film. I watched countless YouTube tutorials, and I wrote down just about everything I learned in this journal. During this time, I also collaborated with friends, both domestic and abroad, to craft the story of Gray Horizons, a 90-page screenplay existing within the Lego Zombie Apocalypse timeline. These brainstorming dialogues were vital for the quality of the story. It was essential to hear others' perspectives on the plot and the characters, and collaborating in this way really saved the story from plot holes, horrible pacing, and misguided story structure. I also rebranded, designing a new logo and renaming the channel from my name Christian to Twisted Bricks. The future of the channel began to take a clearer shape, and production design for Gray Horizons was in full swing. The COVID lockdowns were also in full swing, but I had just landed a great job as an online middle school teacher, and that flexibility provided me quite a few hours to work on digital designs, shot listing, 3D modeling and animation skills, and animating the second season. Nearly all the voice acting for my previous projects had been fulfilled by friends, family, and myself. But now, I set out to reach out to the wider world to fill the roles of Gray Horizons. This was both new, uncomfortable, but also really exciting and a lot of fun. I created a casting call and I shared it on Facebook and with local college and theater communities. With permission from our local high school, my friends and I held auditions in the choir room and listened to 22 people read various lines of dialogue. It was a lot of fun and incredibly exciting to see the enthusiasm all these people had to be part of such a strange project. In the summer of 2021, animation on Gray Horizons began. I animated out of my parents' basement, starting with the big battle scenes. This ended up being a masterclass in problem-solving issues of lighting, green screen, and shot framing. It was exciting, but also so strange. It had been over a year since I started writing Gray Horizons, and I was just now beginning to animate. If I thought about the work ahead of me, I'd get dizzy. I had to focus on one shot at a time, following my shot list to the letter, and trusting my shot sequence was as good as I had hoped. In time, I learned to make changes on the fly according to my instincts, but this was a skill I developed slowly. Of course, life kept happening in the background. My girlfriend and I moved to a new city, I explored other interests, and I even worked as a car salesman for a while. And all the while, I was chipping away endlessly at this project that didn't seem to have an end. It really became more of a lifestyle than a project. It's just something I was always doing, and I surrendered fully to it. In the year 2022, there were two numbers of significance to me: 5,000 and 100,000. $5,000 was the price goal for our Indiegogo fundraiser. The movie had made a lot of progress at this point, but there were still major scenes to create and money needed to pay for them. In a final push, I decided to run my first crowdfunding campaign ever. I made a video, designed perk bundles, and annoyed everyone I could think of to ask for their hard-earned money to fuel my weird dream. Now there's a lot to learn about crowdfunding. I really did do my research, and I put my best foot forward, did the best I could to create an exciting campaign, but in the end, we fell short. But we raised a decent chunk, and with that money I was able to push through to the end of the year. But despite not meeting our financial goal, the end of the year held an incredible surprise of its own. And here is the plaque. Look at that. Presented to Twisted Bricks for passing 100,000 subscribers. Thanks again, everybody, for subscribing, for following along. It's been like a 13-year journey now, and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. And I'm so excited to be releasing The Void War finally. It felt like a sign that I was going in the right direction. I persisted, animating and editing and animating and editing and getting divorced and animating and editing until it was done. We had done it. We had made an independent feature-length stop-motion movie. I was so proud, so pleased with the final result, and so happy that the work was done. Ha! As if. Sure, I had a movie. But now what? I knew that I wanted to get the movie on Amazon and show it at least one movie theater, but now it was up to me to make those things happen. And believe me, setting things up like that is no small task. But, as usual, I got by with a little help from my friends. I reached out to a local business group on Facebook to look for potential sponsors for the movie showing at the local historic theater. This led to meeting 4 sponsors who were willing to pitch in most of the money it would take to reserve the theater for the evening. One of the sponsors was a local photographer and poster designer, and he offered to design the official movie poster, which was incredible. I also signed up to table at local pop expos and conventions, hoping the extra exposure would sell movie tickets. I don't know if that made a huge difference, but it was fun and it did get the word out there. Once I had chosen the date and reserved the theater, I printed several hundred posters and posted them, with permission, in every business and establishment I could. Grocery stores, gaming shops, salons, gas stations, you name it. I dedicated myself to promoting the theater showing in as many ways as possible to guarantee a major turnout, and was even featured in local news, TV, college websites, and radio. I even flew to Virginia for a Brick Fair event, where I met, was interviewed by, and got dinner with a bunch of the Bricks in Motion crew, which was fantastic. Finally, June 10th arrived, the day of the theater premiere. I had no real idea of how large of a crowd to expect, so I hoped for the best and feared the worst. I hosted the event with my brother, who has been my music composer throughout the entire series. We got matching suits, helped some friends set up a merch table, and waited at the door, passing out movie handouts and greeting every guest who arrived. It was a magical day. Family, old friends, new friends, and strangers kept arriving. All told, over 200 people showed up to enjoy the film. After a short introduction from us, the film premiered. It was remarkable seeing the movie play on the big screen. It was even more remarkable seeing it through the eyes of strangers, who reacted visibly, laughing and gasping at parts that I would not have expected. The movie ended to wonderful applause, and we followed the showing with an introduction of the cast and a not-so-short Q&A session. Finally, we ended the event, packed up our stuff, and went downtown to celebrate with the cast and friends. The dream, in large part, had been realized. So of course, it was time to start thinking about a sequel.
Oh, muck. Contact command now.
By January of 2024, I had managed to get the film on Amazon. This marked the true capstone achievement of the film for me, and I shifted my focus to marketing the film on social media and creating and sharing bonus content, like deleted scenes and a making-of documentary. The movie has performed okay, but so far has been little more than subtle supplemental income to my day job. I'm continuing to try to grow my channel to draw attention to the film while simultaneously working on the sequel film, which is currently in production. I'll expand more on that in another video, but I would really ask you to consider liking and subscribing if you want to stay tuned on that project. Making this film has been the greatest creative achievement of my life. I am so grateful that I decided to pursue it, and it was such a joy working with and learning with friends, family, and strangers, and collaborating with them to make this happen. I want you to know that I was only able to make this project because of the age in which we live. We live in a time where you can decide what you want to create, and then you can find all the necessary information to learn how to create it for free on the internet. I relied so heavily on YouTube tutorials for making this movie, and I utilized plenty of free but professional level programs like Blender and DaVinci Resolve. Don't get me wrong, making art and content is hard work, and if you become set in your expectations, it can easily lead to significant disappointment and burnout. I have faced so many challenges and frustrations in my creative pursuits, and that's not going to stop anytime soon. But when it comes down to it, you have many years on this planet, and most people vastly underestimate what they can create in a few short years. If you take anything away from watching this video, I hope it's this. First, check out Gray Horizons, either on Amazon or as a YouTube channel member or Patreon, if abstract LEGO sci-fi horror is your thing, of course. But second, take it as a sign that the long-term project you've been dreaming about for ages is absolutely worth pursuing and pouring yourself into. Do what you need to do to pay the bills, but have a dream and pursue it. Use the comment section of this video to tell people about your channel and your dream, and you'll see that you're in good company. And if you want to follow along as I pursue my creative dream of expanding the Void War universe, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing, and just following along in any way you want. It really helps, and it's not easy out there for us indie creators to get off the ground with stuff like this, so I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Stay twisted.